Hey everyone, welcome to my first YouTube video, and this is gonna be my blog about random stuff. But the first video I'm shooting today is going to be about my first experience with Formula One event, something that I visited one week ago, so that was last weekend, and that happened in Austria in Red Bull Ring Arena, which is in Spielberg. I just decided to shoot this video about this topic because I've been thinking long ago to start my own channel, but I never had the topic that I wanted to talk about first. And then after I come back from that, my experience with Formula One, I decided to shoot this video and see how it goes. So just to let you know, this channel is not gonna be completely about Formula One, just some random stuff, and I just want to know and I just want to see how this video will go further. So my name is Kumizhan, and yeah, I already told you about what I'm gonna be talking about in my channel. It's gonna be completely random topics. I decided to make my channel in English, even though I speak other languages as well. Probably, or maybe I'll think about it. I can shoot videos in another languages, but let's see how it goes. So, as I told you before, this video is gonna be about my experience. I've made some notes here so that I don't forget what to talk about. Otherwise, I can just keep talking about other random stuff. So I'm gonna be talking about where I went, how it went, couple of advice from my side, maybe some experience, the pros and cons, yeah, the downsides of that event and stuff like that. So my first question is about my first part of the video would be about preparation for this event and for this trip. So why I decided to go to this Formula One event at all. So my friend who I went with, he's a fan of Formula One, and I really love exploring different, I don't know, events, different stuff in my life. And even right now when I travel, I don't want to just travel for the sake of traveling, but I want to experience more local events, I don't know, something, stuff like that. And just to let you know, before this event, before this Formula One in Austria, I had never probably properly watched the race, or I'd never experienced any such kind of things, like, I don't know, maybe one time my friend and I, a couple of years ago, we went to karting, but that was a quite bad experience because I came last. So this is how familiar I was with that racing world up to that point, when I went to Formula One event. And so I think my friend and I first decided to go to that Formula One event. That was in 2022. And I bought the tickets because I wanted to give it as a gift to his birthday. But then I bought 2 tickets to, I think it was Imola in 2023 in May, which was supposed to happen, but unfortunately it never happened because there was flood in that part of Italy. And the flood actually happened, I think the event was gonna be on sometime May 22nd, 21st, but this event never happened basically because there was flood, and the flood started just 3 or 4 days before the race itself, before Friday. I think it started like around Monday or Tuesday, and then the organizers said, they sent out the emails, and then they said, hey, if you don't want to come, We're probably gonna postpone it or cancel it. We will see, but whatever decision you will take, it's up to you. We can either refund your ticket, or we can just, you can keep the same tickets, the same seats, but for the next upcoming game in the next years. So we decided not to postpone this event, this race, but rather take the refund and then just try to find another tickets. And we got the refund in June, and then end of July, I already started searching for other races where we could go. And I found out that this one, the Austrian one, was quite the cheapest one, I think, among all of them. I mean, of course, my dream is right now is to go to Monaco Grand Prix, but I don't know. Let's see how it goes. But they are very expensive. So I think right now, if you want to check the tickets, the least expensive one for the training on Thursday, it costs something around 2,700 on the official website. And so yeah, what was I talking about? And then I started searching this new tickets on the website, and then I found out that the Austrian one was the cheapest one, and then it was closer to the city where I live actually, and I live in Munich, in Germany, and I bought 2 tickets. So each of the ticket was 130 euros, but that was grandstand area. So basically that means that you don't have any specified seat, and you just enter inside that track, inside that big place, and then you can just, walk around the track and just find the best spots, where you think you can see the best. And this was for the 3 days, for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So each ticket was 130 euros, and I think that it's not a bad option. But the weather was so hot in that day, so if you sat outside on the hill, because there is like a track and then there is a hill for the general admission where you can just, sit on any kind of hill and then just watch from the top. But it was too hot, and then there was no shade, unfortunately. So yeah, just consider, if you are thinking about going, just consider the weather, if it's gonna rain, for example. I think if it rained those days, we probably wouldn't be able to sit on that hill because it was a little bit steep. So yeah, so that's why I ended up going to Formula One. As I mentioned, I bought the tickets basically 1 year before the game, the race itself. I usually call it a game. So I bought it sometime in July, and I also checked actually, the tickets. I was thinking about, I don't want to stay for the whole days, for 3 days, for, I don't know, like 6 or 10 hours, because this is how long the event goes per day. Usually if you want to see, to experience the whole event. And so I started checking the tickets actually also like 3 or 4 or 5 days before we left Munich. And there were actually tickets. There were tickets still for 385 euros. That included the t-shirt for Max Verstappen. And there were also 1 or 2 tickets for start, stop area, finish area, which was for 600 something. So you could still actually buy the tickets if you wanted to, but those were, of course, more expensive. And also there were still like Casa, I don't know, I don't think I remember the name for it, for like ticket place right at the entrance, the official one, where if someone returned tickets or something happened, or if they had more seats, they would sell those tickets right on the place. I think on Friday and Saturday, when we were also leaving the track, at the exits, there were people standing with the signs and saying, hey, I want to buy the tickets. Please let me know if you have any spare ticket. Uh, so about the bookings, the tickets I've already explained, and then the hotel, I think the hotel I booked right away because I know whenever you go to those Formula One events, and those usually last the whole weekend, starting from Friday, sometimes also on Thursday. So, but in Austria, in Red Bull Ring, that was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I thought that people would go around, this place and everything would be expensive. So I decided to book the hotel or something, some accommodation next to that place, next to that ring. And so I was actually quite lucky. I don't know if I can call it lucky or not, but I started searching around this area. But this is so expensive, even if you booked 1 year earlier. You had to pay for 4 nights from Thursday to Monday morning, from Thursday afternoon to Monday morning. You had to pay roughly for two people around something like 2,000 euros. But this was only a bed included, and I don't think the breakfast was included. So basically, it was just only room. And then what else? So yeah, and then you can also, if you have a van or if you have a camping car or you have a tent, you can also rent a place where you can set up your tent or a car. This is not that expensive. I think for 4 nights for those days it was something like 400 euros. So you can just set up your own place to live, to have the overnights. And they have the common showers, and I'm not sure about the kitchen, but when we were passing by to the entrance and exit, those places actually looked kind of cool because people were doing barbecue, they were having parties at that place, and it was super crowded. So what else about the accommodation? And then I started searching around, and I realized then there is no way you can actually buy or rent something around, I don't know, within 5 kilometers. So I just started checking the nearby cities, because also on the official website, the Red Bull Ring website, I also read that you can actually stay in another cities, and then there's going to be shuttle bus, the official shuttle bus, which will take you from the city to the destination, which is the Red Bull Ring, and then it will take you back. So I checked Graz, which is the city in Austria, and I think this is roughly 60-70 kilometers from the ring. And I booked the hotel, the apartment basically there. It's a 1 room apartment with the kitchen, bathroom, and for 4 nights that was quite cheap. That was for two people, that was only 220 euros. So I booked that one, and then 1 month before the event, so I think it was sometime in May, at the beginning of May, I also received an email because I was expecting it, because I already received the official information about the shuttle buses, which proposed the shuttle buses from that city, Graz, and also some other cities on the way, which will take you every morning in that city, in Graz, and then will take you to the Red Bull Ring, and then in the evening it will take you back. So for the whole 3 days, per one person, the shuttle bus costed roughly 120 euros, but the final price depends on where you're staying. So if that city is closer to the ring, then you would pay something like 90 euros, but since we stayed a little bit further from the track, it was 120 euros. So we booked that bus, so that was 120 per person. And I think on Friday the bus departed, and we were actually lucky because the bus station was like only 2 minutes from our apartment, so we didn't have to, I don't know, wake up earlier just to get to that bus station. And we on Friday we left at roughly nine in the morning, and then the return bus was already departing that Red Bull Ring at something like 7:30 in the evening. And then on Saturday, we left Graz in 8 in the morning, and then we left the Red Bull Ring something around 7 in the evening. And then on Sunday, when the final race was, we left Graz at 7 in the morning. Yes, that was quite early, but then we left the track at 6:30 in the evening. So the one cool thing about those shuttles, that those are organized by the event organizers, and I think it's also the cities that supports them. So they have their special track on the roads, on the autobahns, on the streets basically, and you don't get in any traffic jam. So, you don't have to also drive with other drivers, because when I was going, especially on Sunday, you could see that so many cars were staying just, in traffic jam, trying to get into and also out of the ring. And in general, on Friday and Saturday, the whole way, one way would take hour and a half, and then the other way back would also take hour and a half. But on Sunday, the way there was hour and a half, but the way back was a little bit something like 2 hours, because as I've already mentioned, there were some traffic jam, but when exiting the Red Bull Ring, so we had to stay there, I don't know, something like 20 minutes. So that was that. I didn't have any expectations about this trip, but I don't know, I just really, I was, I don't know, I can't even describe it, but I was probably excited to see, because I've already been a football, a soccer fan, but Formula One, this was something, I don't know, distant. So I didn't have probably any expectations, but once I left, on Sunday evening, I had so many emotions and I was overwhelmed. So I think I just didn't have any expectations. And I really loved how the race itself was on Sunday, because there were, so many cars driving across not across, but near each other. They were competing, and that stuff was really cool. The only downside of that trip was that it was very hot. So on Sunday, I think on Friday it was plus 25, on Saturday it was plus 27, and then on Sunday it was plus 25. But just imagine, it's not only plus 25 degrees, it's also very sunny. There is no shade, it's also in the field. So I think it's very difficult. But I think that organizers did a very good move. I'm not sure if it's also on the other tracks or something, but there were so many water fountains with the cold water, which you could just, I don't know, you could bring your own bottle and then top up your bottle with water, and then it was some kind of cool, you could just cool down yourself a little bit. So on Friday, we were just sitting outside on the hill and it was so hot. We then decided to go to one of the shops that was, in those villages, how they call it. So at the entrance, there is a village where there are eating places, some entertainment places, and also shops. And then further down the ways, you actually go to them to see the game, the race. And in one of the shops on Friday evening, we decided to buy an umbrella. It was a rain umbrella, and when we were actually very smart to do that, because on Saturday and Sunday when we were watching the game, we just opened up that umbrella that basically saved us from the sunlight, which is great. But that one thing happened is that because it was staying in the sun too much, the handle, it was made out of plastic, it just started melting. So when we handled that umbrella, like our hands were just, I don't know, like covered with plastic, which was, I don't know, quite, I was not impressed, by the way, with the quality of that umbrella. But anyways, I kept it as the souvenir. So the the race itself, it was in Spielberg, which I already mentioned, which is 60 kilometers from Graz. It's in Austria. I think the place it's really cool when you take the bus. When we were riding actually that bus to the place, you could also see the nature. It's very beautiful, like everywhere else in Austria, I would say. There are so many mountains, like green grass, everything. Sometimes you can also see waterfalls on the way, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But it's very nice actually. So it's really good. So about the event itself, also there were so many visitors. So I also read the statistics that in those 3 days there were 300,000 people who attended the event. On Friday, I think there were not so many people, but still we had to wait at the entrance, to check in and to get through those security checks. On Saturday, there were more people, and of course, the Sunday was the most crowded one. And I was actually quite surprised because um, from the sex perspective, roughly I think 75% were men and 25 were women. And another surprising observation that I made was that 80% probably were wearing those Red Bull t shirts or orange t shirts. That's because the race um, champion or the fastest driver at the moment, Max Verstappen, he is from the Netherlands and orange is their national color. So many of the people were just wearing those, orange t shirts, and also they were making that wave, which is quite popular, nach rechts, nach links. So it was very cool to see those supporters. And of course, there were actually other people who supported Formula One. I mean, sorry, not Formula One, but Ferrari, Aston Martin, and other teams. So, but most of the people I think um, were wearing orange. But I think this is also because probably this is the Red Bull ring. So this is the ring, the place of the Red Bull team for which Verstappen basically drives for. Um, there were actually other events. So, as I mentioned, we would arrive to the Red Bull Ring around 9 in the morning, and there is a schedule. There is always an application which you can check basically, and then you can see what's gonna go throughout the day. So, I think on Friday, um, there were some events like meet the driver experience, meet the driver's experience, meet the team manager's experience. So this is basically, there is a designated area where you just stay, and then for example, we saw the first day at around 3 p.m. That was scheduled. We saw the interview. So basically Toto Wolff, he's the manager of Mercedes team. He came out to the scene and then he was giving the interview, and it was actually so cool to see that person actually in person. He has a very great biography. He's quite successful, and I think he's very smart. So if you are interested, just check his biography. And then we also saw Christian Horner that day, and I think the drivers meet the drivers experience was on Saturday, which we didn't make because we arrived a little bit later. And then you could also, when you enter, there is a village, as I mentioned already. There is so much more experience than just watching the Formula One race itself. So there are some games, but of course you had to wait in line, which we didn't do, especially under the sun. There is food, there are drinks, I don't know, any kind of experience and whatever is related to that, the whole racing thing. And also, but on the track itself, there was not only Formula One race, there was also Formula Two, which is a little bit lower league. And then there was also Formula 3, I think. So the Formula 3 started on Friday, and then there was Formula 2, and then there is Formula 1 on Sunday. And then there was also Porsche racing and something stuff like that. So basically you can, if you just go to your place to watch the race, you can also watch the race from the morning until the evening. Oh, a couple of more things that I need to mention is that when you actually also between the races, so for example, the first training was Friday morning, the second training was Friday evening. This is where the drivers just, you know, heat up a little bit, exercise, warm up for the upcoming days. And on Saturday, there was the qualification, which they run, and whoever gets the fastest, like whoever actually has the lowest time to get one lap, that person, that driver will start the first on Sunday. And on Sunday, the race itself started, I think, around 3 p.m. and then it lasted for 2 hours. But in between those, there are these Formula 2 and Formula 3 events. And then in between those, there are also some entertainers. For example, there was a person, I think his name was Arash, right? So he was doing the freestyling motorbike, and then there was a person, he was doing freestyle football tricks. And then there were also the pilots who were just doing, you know, those with the planes, those tricks. It was quite very, it was beautiful actually, and very entertaining. And yeah, and after the, on Sunday after the race, I just noticed that many people were leaving 30 minutes before the finish of the race. But then later I learned that they did it to go to the pit zone, which is where the drivers celebrate and which is where the organizers just open the gates and they allow those visitors to get on the track, you know, just to, I don't know, make some photos and um, make some photos and I don't know, just touch the track. I wanted to do that as well, but unfortunately we didn't know. And then even, I think even if I knew, I wouldn't probably want to miss the final lap just to watch, because from where you sit and then to that pit zone, it takes like, I think 40 minutes to walk, and especially in the sun. So and of course, on that event, you can also get the drinks. My favorite drink was slushy, which is ice drink. It was really cool to drink during the very hot weather. It cost €5 for the medium cup. And then from the foods, for example, the fries, they cost €6.5 with ketchup. And then some of the burgers, they cost from 10 to €14, depending on what feelings you want. For example, if it's chicken or if it's vegan. So what I loved about Formula One is probably the emotions, because I've never experienced that. So, and right now I'm trying to book some more upcoming events. I'm not sure, but I think sometimes they're so expensive. So I'm still thinking where I want to go. If I want, I mean, I definitely want to go, but it's all about the budget. So, and you can also meet people, other people. For example, we met one person who gave us some of the tips for the next upcoming Grand Prix to watch. For example, I don't know where to buy the tickets, I don't know what to do around, so some stuff like that. So I think it's also a very cool place to meet other people. What I didn't like, okay, so what I didn't like, it's a little bit sad story. I was wearing my friend's baseball cap, and it was from Red Bull. It was 10 years old already, and it was his favorite baseball cap, but he never wore it, or he rarely wore it, just because it's a very, I don't know, vintage, and it was quite popular, and that was his first. That cap was his first souvenir from the first race that he attended himself 10 years ago. And then I wore it because it was so sunny, and then I went to the toilets, and then I don't know, it was just something heavy, you know, on my head, and then I took it off and put it on the hook in the toilet. And then I went outside of the toilet, I washed my hands, and then I got to drink some water. And then when we were about to go out into the sun, out of the shade, I just realized that I forgot my cap on the hook. So it's been already 5 minutes or something, and then I went back to the toilet, and then I checked the toilet where I was, and there was already nothing. So I asked the cleaning lady if she knew anything, and she said, "Oh no, usually, if you miss something, that's probably gone forever." But I never left the hope. I went to found and lost office the next days. That happened on, I think that happened on Saturday in the afternoon, and then we checked on Saturday in the evening, on Sunday morning, and then on Sunday evening. But unfortunately, nobody returned that. So this is something which is really, I don't know, sad, because if I was someone who found and especially it has a name on it, and if I was, it was actually Daniel Kratz baseball cap. He was the driver who back then 10 years ago was driving for Red Bull. And if I found something like this, I would definitely bring it to the found and lost office. But this is the place where people are actually looking for stuff like that, right? And then just to make it up for my friend, I offered him to buy either a t-shirt or a cap, another. And so speaking about those merchandising stuff, the t-shirts, they cost 90 euros, and the baseball caps, they cost 65 euros. Not bad quality, but I think you can buy online cheaper. So yeah. So I think a couple of advice that I can give you. So if you want to basically go to the Formula One, and I'm telling you from my own experience, I don't know, maybe other people can tell from their own experience. So if you want to go, just try to book, of course, the tickets in advance. And of course, just book the hotels also right away. Just probably try to do it as early as possible. For example, in my own experience, we did it 1 year before. And then also think about the logistics, how you're gonna get to the, for example, to the track if you're staying far away. And also think about how you're gonna make it to that city. For example, from Munich to Graz, there is the straight train, which is roughly 6 hours and which is not expensive. So for the round ticket, 2 months in advance, we bought for 100 euro each. So with the current prices, I think it's quite fair and without any transfers, and the train wasn't late, so which is actually great. So just try to plan everything in advance. And also, if you are taking those standing tickets, general admission tickets, just also take something, to sit on. So if you are sitting on the grass, or if you are sitting just, on the streets, just take something which is not also slidey. And also take a sun umbrella with you, of course. Take the bottles to fill in the water. I'm not sure about the other places, but the Austrian, this place, it's been, I don't know, very high standards. The organization and everything was actually quite good. And what else? So I think, yeah, and just try to be positive and just try to do, also as much as possible, because download the application before to check the program of the event, because there are some cool stuff that you might like. What I can about the clothes, just wear something very simple, which you are not too afraid to, because there might be some stains. So especially if you're sitting on the grass, your just jeans or something can get those stains from the grass. And yeah, so this is probably would be my advice. I don't know what else I can advise you, and just, you know, try to check the official website, of course, and probably also watching other videos, like for example, like mine about this one. um I think it was really nice, really great, which gives you a lot of positive emotions. And yeah, we didn't walk around Graz so much, only the first evening when we arrived. It's a very nice town, quite small, and the people are very friendly. The only thing that when we stayed in the apartment, where we stayed, down we stayed on the second floor, and on the first floor in front of the building, in the building in the front of our building, there was the nightclub. So it was very, very loud from from Friday to Saturday. So the techno music was just playing out loud until 1 in the morning, and there were just, you know, people talking until 6 in the morning. So I couldn't get enough sleep. So just also make sure that you are booking a very nice hotel or apartment which is not noisy. The organization of that event was quite good. So yeah, so but about coming to the race itself, it was very interesting because I heard that whoever usually gets the first three places during the qualification on Saturday, usually they make the final three, the first, second, and third places on the final race on Sunday. But that wasn't the case, because that was a very interesting story. How I think the first place was given to Russell from Mercedes, because the two people who were in front of him, the two drivers who were in front of him, it was Verstappen and Norris. They basically got into an accident, and I think Norris got out of the race, and then Verstappen, he came fourth or fifth that time, and then yeah, there was just, you know, it was just unbelievable. So this is something, if you really love it, if you really love cars, that's definitely something for you. What would I do differently if I went again? I would definitely book the tickets which had the seats, because sometimes, you know, it's not very comfortable. So for example, on Sunday we came to that spot at around 9, and then we stayed there until 5 p.m., just, you know, not to lose our seats. But if we had better places, for example, where if we had assigned places, but of course that would be more expensive tickets, they would cost around not least than 350 euros. We wouldn't have to do that, and some of the tribunes, they would have the shades, so you don't even have to hold the umbrella all the time. This is something, and definitely next time I'm gonna, I don't know, I'm gonna put the air tag on my baseball cap. So yeah, and this is my first blog. I don't know, it's been 73 minutes. Please let me know if you have any comments. Just subscribe. I try to post as much as possible, and also just offer me or suggest me the other topics that you would like to hear from me. I'm also gonna try to post something quite randomly until I find something I'm very interested in, or I will see that, you know, I get the reaction from viewers. So subscribe, like, comment, and yeah, I hope I didn't forget anything to say. But if I do, I will probably just type it in the comments. But yeah, thank you very much, and see you later.